your advice, boys. We had a 6 a.m. practice yesterday morning, and two boys who are twins did not show up. And I'm told they never show up for 6 a.m. practices. We don't have them very often. Those same kids are going to miss 5 practices over Thanksgiving when they're in Mexico. And so we have another set of twins, and they'll be gone for 4 days over Thanksgiving, and we'll miss 2 or 3 practices. So then the issue is, well, these are unexcused absences. And our code of conduct says then there should be consequences. So I'm going, okay. So what is the consequence? Do we bag skate them in practice? But the problem is that's not really their fault. It's their parents' fault.
Yeah.
And then if
they need the ride, eh?
Yeah, and then one of the goalies didn't go to the goalie clinic because he says my dad didn't know about it. Well, okay, and then you get into this thing. Well, if we sit them out during games, then I'm punishing the entire team, and that's not fair either. And I don't, and I've already, we've tried to put something out to the parents to say there will be consequences if you have unexcused absences, examples, I have to go to grandma's birthday party in Florida. I have tickets for the Wild game. I need to go. I have, there's just this endless number of other things where they will miss. And I just thinking, it's so hard with only, we have 3 lines, but hard to run a practice with, with 2/3 of a team. And we only have 4 defensemen, and one of the kids is a defenseman that will be missing. I'm just going, what the heck? Peter has an idea.
Go ahead, Peter.
I do. What degree? Like, what's your dynamic of your as far as the kids all getting along and liking each other, all that. Where are you at with that?
Oh, they're good. The dynamics on this group are pretty good. Yeah.
So, what about posing the question to them as a group, as they're older, right? Because you said these are Bantams.
No, these are Pee-wees. They're 11 and 12.
Okay, so they're 11 and 12, so they're old enough to understand right and wrong and consequences and all that. So what about having an open discussion amongst your team? Hey, here's the situation that's happening. Like, I know it's not your guys' fault. However, this is the team rule, and like you just said, it's hard for us to run practices when people don't show up. What do you think consequences should be? Now, if you can come up with something from your group like that, it's way more effective than if you decide to make a rule, because you're going to get some parent who's going to be saying, hey, you know what, this isn't right, and et cetera, et cetera. But when you can say, listen, the team came up with this rule, these consequences, however you want to word it. I didn't come up with it. I supported them. I support them because they're my team, but they had an open discussion. They talked about it, and this is what came up with. If nothing else, it's probably a really interesting conversation for them to begin to see things like what you have to actually deal with as a coach, because they never see any of that. So I think that could be a great conversation, if nothing else, and hopefully you could get something out of it too.
That's a great idea. I appreciate it.
Peter, I got, just as you spoke, I had a question. And I never thought of this before, but, if the kids' parents aren't taking them, and in that discussion, it's sort of a habit. And if you do talk to your players about that, how receptive would they be to the parents that are coming that live close enough by will pick up that kid, and they can look after each other.
Yep.
And I think we've, consequences are reaction. So I think it's so important we're educating the parents here.
Yeah,
You're teaching life skills, respect, responsibility. And I think it's more important to have your players talk about that and seeing if they can help one another out as a group of parents and players to get there on time.
yeah,
The holidays things, hell, I don't touch. I think it's family time, and that's part of life skills and part of recognition. And you have to live without it and adapt your practice to what you've got.
yeah.
If they call themselves an elite team and they're taking holidays carelessly, it's not really an elite program.
Well, you're right. Ironically, the one of the parents for the team schedules all the tournaments for the association and intentionally did not schedule our team for when they want to take their family out of town. But of course, then practice, that's when our practice ice is.
Yeah.
And so it's like, whatever. I mean, it's like.
Yeah, it's interesting, right, Wally? Because to your point about the elite team, back when I was coaching gunnery, we used to be in this at New Year's, and there was another program that was in this, and they had one, I think it was one, maybe two kids on that team who not my team, but another team that were like legit good, probably potential Division I players, who in all 4 years that they attended that prep school never went to that tournament because they went to the islands for their vacation. That's just what they did. Like, they knew that this was important, but they made, like you said, it's a family choice that they made. Certainly frustrating for a coach.
Yep.
Certainly frustrating for a recruiter if you're waiting to see him play in this tournament, which had and the kid's getting a suntan somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
I think Tom's story for coaching U13, Tom, you were having 10 players at practice, and
It was exactly the same thing.
Yep. U13, it's the first time they had AA U13 girls teams, 2 teams in the association, and they call themselves an elite association. So Tom, you can describe that and how you eventually turned it around, and go ahead, Tom.
Well, it was getting frustrating for Jim and I, because how can you do 5 players missing? How can you do any team play? This kind of stuff. And it was becoming not really fun. And the team was about 50-50. And we mentioned it to the parents, but Wally did this, the mission statement. And that was part of the deal as the parents realizing that, we're committing our time. Like every year they schedule all our practice Tuesday, Thursday, and I have seasons tickets, and those are the nights the Flames play. So I missed a game the other night again. They could do it Monday, Wednesday, but anyway, they do. That's another thing. But so after that mission statement, they started showing up at practice all the time, and then we basically lost about 2 games the rest of the year, and we won 2 tournaments. But you can't really do anything with the only part of your team there.
Right.
Plus, there's no commitment either, right? There's not really a team.
Right.
See, Tom, I never equated the mission statement exercise with that. I thought I know you had told me that you were so discouraged that you were going to last the year, but you wouldn't coach at that level again.
Yeah, but I think it came up in the mission statement too.
Yeah.
We talked to a few people and said, look, this is just a lot of fun.
See, for Peter and Hal, in the mission statement exercise with elite, I begin with writing the outcomes down. What do you want to achieve this year? Do you want to win a championship? Do you want to get drafted? Do you want to get a scholarship? And I start with that column. And I say, if you're elite, then this is why you're playing elite. If not, you're playing community. You still have to be responsible and be the best you can be. But if you're elite, you're sacrificing other team sports, possibly. You're sacrificing holidays if you really are elite. And I began with that, talking about if we're elite, it's commitment to the cause. And then I continue with the exercise in terms of, well, how do you win a championship? What do you have to do when it gets down to the two words, effort and respect? So the life skills, the values of hard work, teamwork, they tie into the process of becoming a champion. And you might not win, but you're going to be a heck of a great person and player for that. So I think that exercise, hell, is, you know, you have to decide. You call yourself an elite. Is it really elite, or is it just, you know, they call themselves elite, but they're not and don't care. And you have to draw the line. You're the head coach. And
Yeah,
I'm just saying, when you're looking at ideas, I never tied the mission statement exercise into it, but how good do they want to be? Because I know years ago, my granddaughter was playing soccer at a U16 level, and it was elite soccer. It was the second division level of play in the association. And during playoffs, the family took a holiday. And my daughter was really upset because she understands, well, oh my God, what are you doing? It's not really elite. Now, as it happens, my granddaughter got a scholarship and is playing and got field time. The other girl, who in question did not participate, you know, wasn't responsible, that took the holiday, got a scholarship, but was cut from the team later this year. And I talked to the parents before that. I think the commitment from the parents is a starting point.
yep.
And kids have got parents, and they've got to, you know, they're walking a fine line. And if the parents have at all been involved in elite sports and they know about that, I think they're knowing at this level you're sacrificing those things.
Well, it's like today we practice at 4:00 at Crowchild, and parents have to leave work early because none of these kids can drive yet, right? They're 13, 14.
Yeah.
They leave work early, go to, you know, a lot of them live at the other end of the city. And this is one of the largest land area cities in the world. It's quite a drive. So if the parents don't have a commitment, you know, like they really have to go out of their way to get their kids to practice for sure.
I think it's hard, at least down here, because, you know, we have A teams, which would be our top level team in our program. Some programs have double A teams, so they compete at a level higher. But, and then we have B teams and C teams and B1 teams. And you know, we had the president of the association last year who had a kid on the team. And his kid went to the Bahamas over the holidays and missed 2 tournaments. And he said, well, my son's never going to play professional hockey, so why does it matter? And he was the president of the program. So the solution is you have to either put up with it or you have to go work for a different program where, you know, they do care. And then you have to make sure that, you know, your commitment lines up with the commitments of the players and the parents. And that's hard in community-based hockey. AAA hockey and club hockey, it is very different. And But we don't have very much of that here because they can't get ice time. So,
Yeah, and we run the same thing here. You know, you see that a lot down in Connecticut because the organization I'm working with, the rinks are about, they practice at 2 different rinks, are about 20 minutes apart, but it might as well be 200 miles apart sometimes, right? As far as the parents just, well, you know what, we're not going to drive down because that's down Route 8 South, too many miles. Just, we're not going to do that. Then you have the other parents who will do anything to get their kids to a practice. So unfortunately, you're thinking, not really unfortunate, I guess, just the reality of the situation in community-based hockey. Kids playing for several different reasons, not like elite. They're all at least supposed to be focused on their eye on the prize, so to speak. Maybe being hopefully someday playing professionally, getting a collegiate scholarship. But when you get to the community base, I would argue that it's probably more difficult to coach because of many, many more moving parts socially than you have and culturally than you have at the higher levels.
Yep, I agree. So,
Peter, I think the important thing here at community, as in elite, is responsibility of communication.
yep.
Okay, letting you know early enough that they've got a holiday. At community level, just communicate. If you're going to be late and have a legitimate reason, let us know. We're trying to teach the life skill of thinking of the workplace, of letting people know if you're on time or going to be away. And I think however you massage that, handle that, deal with that is so important at the community level. Just as important as it is at the elite level.
Because that's a great opportunity to teach for sure. Back when I a community, a sport team, and my wife used to teach me because I made the rule with the kids that if you're not going to be at practice, you have to call me.
Yep.
And I don't want mom or dad to call me. You have to call me because I felt like it would help them begin able to communicate with, somebody who is quote unquote in a position of authority. But we developed that trust, and my wife would answer the phone and she'd hand it to me and she would just say Disney's calling because she thought they all sounded like they were like Mickey and Minnie Mouse with that age. But it was really good. The kids would do that, and surprise to me, one day for our game, they all showed up in shirts and ties. Community hockey, right? These are 9-year-old kids. What's for this? And they said, well, we just thought that this is something we should do. They came up with that completely on their own. So
cool. Good for the
kids. A lot of accomplishments you can make, and then when things work, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
I've got an old school example, U13 hockey. One of our coaches who played years in the NHL, and as Tom pointed out to me the other day, he was MVP in the Memorial Cup back in his day, coaching U13 girls. His daughter's on the team. And I'm going to watch the practice, which is 5:30, easy drive, no excuse for being late. And I arrive at the practice late myself just to watch. And they're doing a bag skate that they've been doing for 10 minutes. And they did it for another 10 minutes. 12-year-old girls.
Oh, geez.
And here's what happened. His daughter, who is the most talkative one on the team, 4 of them were late coming out on the ice to start their practice. And he lined them all up and he attended to it. And let me tell you, I was up there with the parents and they were smiling. And his daughter was at the forefront. She's the social butterfly of the team. And he held them accountable. And he does that consistently. He does not deviate from his philosophy and his standards of expectation with those girls. And as Tom knows, inheriting quite a few of those girls on the U13 team from his when they played for him at U11. And I don't know how many of them, Tom, have been coached by him on this year's team. But your team, it has effort and respect. Not all the teams that I watch put in that kind of effort. And if you don't put in the effort, you're not really respecting the importance of effort and the team.
Well, on Sunday, got to the rink and my players are watching a game in the other rink. And then about 4 of them walked out 3 minutes late. So say I didn't skate them for 20 minutes, but they did 3 over and backs. So then on Tuesday we had a practice. 5 minutes before practice, the whole team was sitting there waiting for the Zamboni to get off.
Yeah.
So I don't think you have to go 20 minutes, but you got to make your point.
Yeah, what we used to do, and this is at every level, even going back to the little kids there, was for every minute that the last player is on the ice past its starting time, that's how long we skated for. So if you were 4 minutes late, we skated for 4 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever it would be. And you'd be surprised when you're getting within like 3 minutes of being on the ice, players looking around, jumping off the ice, running into the locker room to go get the kids and get them to come out because they don't want to skate.
Well, that's what I did in phys ed. I gave them a certain amount of time to be out there. And
so
then
in other words, so like if practice starts at 10 a.m., we'll say, or whatever, you got to be on the by 10 a.m. If the last player doesn't get out till 10:05, we're going to skate for 5 minutes to start practice. And it worked pretty well. It worked pretty well. They self-policed each other, took responsibility. So it was like a little thing you can do, but it was kind of fun to see them care. That was good.
I've got 2 related stories.
Special situation this year is we got one player is also an elite short track speed skater. And she's training like crazy for that. And there's a competition this weekend that she has to go to because, they get ranked in the country. Kind of made a deal that just let me know beforehand because I don't want her to quit one of them because she thought she had to quit one of them or the other one, So I just said, well, just let me know and we can work around it. So she'll be gone to the speed skating competition. So she'll miss a Saturday practice and the Sunday game.
But that's great. You're doing that. You're working because similarly, I used to coach something called Connecticut, which at that time was at 12-year-olds, and the best players, they get together for this weekend, go to different state, and they pick for another team. And there was one town that always had lacrosse tryouts on the Sunday when most games were being played. And the kids were scared to death that was going to affect held against them because they said the lacrosse association told us if you don't show up for the tryout, you're not making any team. So the opportunity to you mentoring them, saying, you know what, it's going to be okay. We can work this out because this thing called life is a real thing. I can work with you. I think that's great. And when you be the one, they'll remember that for a long time, that you were the individual who said, you know what, I'm going to think about staying here. I respect who you are, what you're trying to accomplish. That's a lot you're trying to accomplish at your age. So how can I help? So I think that's great.
I've got a story, Hal, related to my early years of U15 Bantam hockey. I had a lot of kids are playing, families have 2 kids playing sports. And this kid came late to the game. I sat him for the period. And his dad came up to me after and he said, Wally, I said, I've got another son playing hockey I got him here as fast as I could. Do you think you could have him do push-ups instead? And that was a wake-up call for me.
Yeah.
Of course. Why didn't I think of that? Like, we don't realize how these parents are going all over heck to give their kids a sporting experience.
Right.
And shame on me
We
for
got
not.
families with 5 and 6 kids playing hockey.
Yeah, and that's happening. Like, I spend all my time with the parents watching games now. Oh my God, their schedules.
Crazy.
Fathers are this way, the mothers are this way, and the families share drive together. They're doing all this communication behind the scenes because the bottom line is they want a positive experience for their kids.
Yep.
And we're entrusted with that. And holidays, families, multiple kids playing multiple sports. Boy, it's a balancing act. It's a juggling act. And I think we have to be flexible. And the only thing that we need to do is teach communication, letting people know, being responsible about it, letting Tom know that she's got a speed skating competition. He's got time to get an affiliate up, and things move on.
Yep.
But
You're 100% right, Wally.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I got to run.
okay, Hal.
It's always great to visit with you. Hope you like the video. And hopefully we'll catch up.